Thanks so much for tuning in. This is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours live stream where I go live every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time to talk all things claims, careers, coffee, and all kinds of other cool stuff. I'm your host, Josh Fisher, and this stream is brought to you by Crew Talent Group, the greatest claim adjuster recruiting group on the planet. If you're tuning in, jump in the chat. I'd love for you to say hello. And if you enjoy this content, do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me more than you could know. And if you're in claims or you want to be, connect with me on LinkedIn or send me your resume at www.crewtalentgroup.com. I'd love to hear from you. Now it's time for the show. Good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours live stream here on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and today for the first time ever we are live on TikTok. So what up, TikTok? TikTok doesn't get the fancy screen with the visuals and all that stuff, but if you are on TikTok, I'd love to hear from you. Hello, good morning, happy Tuesday. We do this every single Tuesday. We got Miguel in the chat. What's up, Miguel? Happy Tuesday, hope you're doing good. We're vibing out, listening to some music, drinking some coffee, having a good time. Welcome, happy Tuesday. This is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours live stream. Every single Tuesday I go live for 1 hour with the goal of trying to help people find jobs in the insurance industry. I specifically recruit in claims adjusting, and so that's what I know. That's what I do mostly. But that's the show. Hello, Shannon. Welcome to the live stream. Hope you're having an awesome Tuesday. But yeah, the whole point of the show, totally open format. I hang out for an hour. We talk all things claims, recruiting, jobs, resumes, interview tips, whatever you want to talk about. We're here to chat about it. If there's no one here, or if it's slow day, we'll chat about. I've got topics, just questions that I get from people throughout the week, or things that I hear, and go through some of those things. I got some things prepared, but want to hear what's on your mind. What's on if you're out there hanging out? Love to hear what's on your mind. Okay, so this is the first time I'm going live on TikTok, and it is weird. I don't really know how to go live on TikTok. I've had 14 people ask to join the stream. I don't know what that means, but if you're not on TikTok, I don't know. You're probably not missing out. Let's start it off. I got my 3 things of the week. So, gonna talk about a couple things that going on in my life. I don't know, 3 things. Could be anything. Who knows? First thing of the week, hot job alert. I don't know if you can hear that trap horn. I got a trap horn here. Hot job alert. I'm working with a really awesome company. I'm super excited about this job. It is not going to last long. But yeah, if you are a auto PD physical damage adjuster, looking for an opportunity, I'm working on a really cool opportunity. It is remote unless you live within a certain radius of their office, in which case you go on 1 day a week, which is a pretty cool gig if you ask me. Looking for an auto physical damage adjuster for a TPA. Low severity claims, be a higher volume, so claims that move pretty quickly, specifically commercial accounts, so dealing with claims that have no liability questions, but they have physical damage and need to be resolved quickly. So if that sounds like you, if that sounds something that you're interested in, I'd love to hear from you. Looking for people with about 3 years of auto PD experience. Commercial's a plus. If you don't have commercial experience, that may be okay. But people with a few years of auto physical damage experience, if you work maybe State Farm Express claims, things like that, working in that type of environment. It's a really cool company, family owned. People seem to really stay there. People seem to really like it. It has the highest Glassdoor rating that I've literally have ever seen in a claims company before. So really cool opportunity. You know where to find me. Let's see. That's the first thing of the week. What's up, TikTok? Hope you're having a great day if you're on TikTok. This is crazy. Anyways, that's my first thing of the week. Second thing of the week, holy smokes. Texas. Shannon, I'm excited to chat with you. We'll chat more. Yes, I'm definitely looking forward to chatting with you about this position. But yes, so second thing of the week here, Texas, big damage in Texas. Tornadoes, some massive hail in Fort Worth. If you live in Texas, thoughts and prayers. Stay safe out there. Crazy damage out there. If you're a claims adjuster, this is it. And especially our independent claims adjusters. I mean, this is what we do. This is what we're here for. Yeah, this is, I mean, just crazy damage. I think there was a couple people that passed away from this storm. I mean, really sad stuff. Thoughts and prayers if you live in Texas. Stay safe, everybody. It is storm season. It is kind of tornado season right now. Really big damage in Texas. If you're a claims adjuster, wow, these are some of the hard things I think where claims adjusters really, shine. But we're here to help people put their lives back together, and that's kind of my why, and that's why I do it. I think it's really important if you work in this industry to have a why. Why do you do what you do? And for me personally, it's to help people put their lives back together after a massive loss. I think a lot of insurance gets a bad rap for a number of reasons, but at the end of the day, that's what we're doing, is we're trying to help people put their lives back together. So if you're in Texas, if you're in Ohio, if you're in one of these areas that's gotten just blasted by hail or wind or tornadoes, thoughts and prayers to you. Stay safe out there, everybody. And if you're a claims adjuster, remember why you do it. You stay safe out there. Remember to take care of yourself. It's a tough job. It's not an easy job. Shout out to all the claims adjusters out there working these storms. That's my second thing of the week. And my third thing, a little lighter. Third thing of the week, this is your insurance claims recruiting podcast, but also this is the #1 insurance claims recruiting podcast talking about the biggest racing news in the world. Pretty cool stuff here happened over the weekend. London Marathon happened. If you're in the running community, you know about this already, but if you're not, love to chat more about it, tell you about it. First ever human being on planet Earth that has ran 26.2 miles in a competitive format under 2 hours happened this weekend, and not one but two people finished the London Marathon under 2 hours. If you know anything about running, obviously these guys are like insane athletes, but the biggest news here is like the innovation for shoes. And I like shout out to these two dudes that did it, and the woman's world record was broken as well. So three world records broken, really because of Adidas building this super shoe specifically for running. So super exciting, super cool stuff. I think about the dude that got second place. Man, he literally beat the world record under 2 hours, got second place. It was his first ever marathon, and he got second place. Insane. Alejandro, if you need assistance with estimating, building, consulting, or engineering services for hail, hit up Alejandro. Rob Johnson, there's your guy. Texas, shout out Texas Pierce Consulting. Where in the world are you today? He travels all over the country. Yeah, he's everywhere. Where are you at? Are you in back down in Texas? Thanks for joining. Thanks for tuning in. What's up, TikTok? That's my 3 things of the week. Now we get into the show, the main part of the show where I hang out and we just talk all things claims recruiting. If you are brand new to insurance, if you've never heard of what claims adjusting is, this is for you. If you're a lifer and looking for your next position, this is for you. Totally open format. We just chat claims recruiting, state of the market, whatever you want to talk about. I've got a list of questions that I have where I just kind of go through some things that I've heard. The whole idea here is if one person has a question, or is wondering about something, there's chances are someone else here on the planet is wondering the same thing. And so I try to leverage my background in claims as a recruiter to try and help people get jobs. And that's the whole purpose of this show. So if you want to know something, if you're curious about claims, if you're struggling to get interviews, if you need help on your resume, totally open format. We got 45 minutes now where I just open the floor and we just hang out. My office is open. I just got my all lines license for Connecticut and I am stalking insurance companies to get in. LinkedIn user. I can't see your name, but thanks for joining. Congrats on getting your license. That's an awesome first step. I'm curious what types of jobs you're looking for. What are you seeing out there? What's in Connecticut? What's your ideal? Have you thought about these types of things? I love talking about this stuff. There's a ton of different opportunities in claims. Claims is a super broad place of insurance, and even in insurance, claims is just one small little niche. Obviously, not obviously, I guess there's people that maybe don't know, but the claim process is when someone files a claim, you have an insurance policy, you file a claim. Typically you'll have someone come out and investigate that claim. That a lot of times that'll be an adjuster, sometimes it won't be an adjuster, and there's all kinds of different people that work on the process of claims, and that's what I do every day. I work with companies that are hiring claims professionals. I help them find claims professionals, and it's a really awesome career. One of the things that's really cool about insurance is that literally nobody out there that I've ever met has woke up and said, hey, I wanna be in insurance. No one's born to work in insurance. It finds us randomly, or we find it. Personally, how I got into the industry is a recruiter hit me up on LinkedIn and said, hey, I was looking for a job. I just moved to Denver, Colorado, and they said, hey, you want to work for this company? I said, sure. And I said, what do they do? And they said, I don't know. The recruiter literally had no clue what the company did. So I went in, talked to the company. I didn't really know anything about independent adjusting claims or anything like that. Ended up working for Eberl Claims Service for a number of years, and it was an awesome place to work, awesome place to learn the biz, a great little introduction into claims, and so yeah, I had a great time. Heather, thanks for joining. Yeah, congrats on getting your license. That's an awesome first step. How's the job application process going so far? Have you gotten many interviews? Have you gotten any hits? Curious. Awesome. Well, I'm going to start going through just some questions that I've got prepared. If you're in the chat, if you're on TikTok, if you're lurking, say hello. I'd love to hear from you. What do I do, KG, on TikTok? I am a claims recruiter, so I'm kind of my own business, right? So I work for myself, but I partner with insurance companies or TPAs or claims companies to help them hire adjusters. So if I have a company like the one I'm working with right now, who's trying to hire commercial auto physical damage adjusters, they hire me to go out and help them find people to do the job. So that's what I do. I'm a recruiter in the claims industry. I focus only on claims. That's all I do. My company is Crew Talent Group. Check us out at crewtalentgroup.com, or you can just watch this live stream, hang out. I want to get into investigations, SIU. I want to start anywhere from my experience. My background is tech project manager. Awesome. Highly recommend checking out, just looking for like claims trainee type positions. Yeah, it's brutal right now, and I'm hearing that it's not just you, so keep at it. It is brutal right now. A couple things I always recommend to people is to look in your local area for claims offices that are close to you, especially when you're first starting out in insurance right now. It's really difficult to get remote jobs. Most of the jobs I'm seeing, especially for people like entry level, brand new, are going to be in office. So do a lot of research on companies that have offices in your local area. I'm not sure where exactly you live in Connecticut, but it seems to be a pretty good insurance market. So check out companies that have offices, companies that hire adjusters. So we have your traditional insurance companies, State Farms, the Allstates, the Travelers, all those companies, mutual companies. We also have like TPAs, or third-party administrators, is another place that I would look. And so companies like Gallagher Bassett, Reserve TPA, ICW, check out companies like that. And another thing I always kind of recommend to people getting into the industry is to not always focus just on claims. If you can get a role for a large company, maybe in underwriting as like an underwriting assistant, it's another good little entry point that you can start out with and get a little bit of experience and then kind of move around from there. So keep at it. It is brutal right now. The job market is tough right now, especially for people just getting into the industry. And that's going to change. And the market's kind of always evolving. Things are changing. There's going to be opportunities. Feel free to connect with me directly outside of this call too. I'd love to chat as well. KB says, why should they hire me? Because I'm literally the greatest ever. That's why. They should hire me because I'm the greatest ever. This is all I do. All I do is claims recruiting. I've been doing it for 10 years. I'm the only claims recruiting company with a live stream every Tuesday. Claims recruiter office hours. This is not about me though. This is about you guys trying to get jobs. But that's why they should hire me, because I'm literally the greatest. Applied to subject trainees, still waiting. Contact recruiters. They're probably still tired of me. Yeah, I get that. They're not tired of you. Coming from a recruiter, it's okay. Keep reaching out, even if they don't respond. That's okay. Also, another thing I'd highly recommend is checking out some like local claims organizations in your area. Again, like dependent on where you live exactly. A lot of small communities have like local claims associations. So like personally, I live in Portland, Oregon. This Friday, I'm going to the Oregon Claims Adjusters Association annual symposium, and it's just a place where a bunch of claims people hang out. And it's good to connect and network with people. But for me, a lot of the value is learning the industry and just to see what's up in your area, right? Like a lot of the people that go to these events aren't even claims professionals. A lot of times it's like the vendors, the restoration companies, like you'll find like contents companies, you'll find roofing companies, all different types of people that work within the claims ecosystem, and you can learn from them. Like the business development people at a restoration company are so valuable because they just know everything. They're in the trenches, they're learning, they work with all these companies, they know what's up. And so they're really great people to network with, even if they're not going to hire you specifically. A lot of times they'll be like, oh yeah, this person I was talking to is really having trouble. You should connect with them. And just meeting people is a great way to connect. I love the internet. I think the internet is incredible, and it's another way that we can connect with people, which is why I do this live stream, which is why I post all the time. I'm that guy on LinkedIn for sure. But in-person networking is another awesome thing, and a lot of times these events are pretty inexpensive. I don't know if you can hear my dog is in REM sleep. He's making noise, huh? But yeah, so check out, like, I don't know what's in Connecticut claims associations or what's close to you, but highly recommend it. A lot of times they put on pretty fun events too, and a lot of times they like make it pretty free or inexpensive for claims adjusters to do it. So check it out. Again, this is the Claims Recruiter office hours. I am the Claims Recruiter. This is my office. I'm here for the next hour. We hang out every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, 9 a.m. on the Best Coast. We hang out and just talk all things claims, recruiting, jobs, whatever we want to talk about. We're here. So we're live. James loves the internet. Shout out, James. How are you doing today, James? We're live here on for the first time ever. We're live on TikTok. So what up, TikTok? My phone has like 20% battery, so we'll see if I last through the hour. He said, you know what, let's try it. So we're hanging out, we're on TikTok. If you're watching on TikTok, say hello. You don't get to see the whole, I got a whole cool setup on the other platforms, but not on TikTok. Just a picture of me, so you don't get the cool visuals. But yeah, cool. Well, we'll keep rocking. KG, good question. Smiles join. What's up, Smiles? Yo, TikTok is incredible. Okay, let's rock through some questions. If you're out there, say hello. Road to 100 update. Want to start off, I know we're 23 minutes in. I wanted to start off talking about the Road to 100. The whole point of this was at the beginning of the year, I started off saying this is the Road to 100. It's my goal to help 100 people in insurance claims get jobs in the year 2026. And so I want to give a little update. I want to be transparent. I want to talk about where we're at, where we need to go, where we're going to be, all those things. My goal in this, I put it on LinkedIn, I put it out online. My goal is to help 100 people get jobs in the insurance industry in 2026. What does that mean? I want to just be clear about that. It's not like me making money as a recruiter placing 100 people. It's more or less just me being out there helping people give information and get jobs in the industry. So if like I give you some information on this podcast or have a meeting with you or do a resume review and it helps you 1% and you're able to get a job, that counts. So anybody that comes to me and says, hey, you helped me get a job, that's how I'm kind of counting it. And then obviously, yeah, if I like place someone directly, I'm going to count that too. But yeah, that's my goal. I'm keeping track. It is February, April 28th. So we're almost halfway through the year, which is crazy to think about. And I have, drum roll please, 17. We are up to 17 people who we have helped get jobs in the year 2026. It literally was like mid-February when I got number one. So like it was a slow roll, slow to start out. We're up to 17 people now, which is incredible for me. Like I if it was just one, it would be worth it for me, but we're up to 17. We're trying to get to 100 by the end of 2026, so we're going to keep doing this every single Tuesday. We're going to keep living life the same way. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's the update, the Road to 100. I'll keep you posted kind of as we progress. Okay, here's a question in the chat for someone from Shannon. For someone that has auto liability and a year of commercial, how would you advise to learn about litigation or bodily injury? Sometimes I feel like not having that experience is holding me back. First off, I think that like this question it's a great question because I think having litigation and bodily injury experience is a really good way to kind of move up in claims. From where I sit, what I see, the jobs that I see, I think bodily injury, general liability, some of these more complex claims are where you can make more money in your career, and so getting that experience is important if that's what you want to do. So I think that's a really good question. How to learn about it? I mean, I think the first way to do it, the easiest way to get into something like that is to probably start in personal lines auto is probably the best entry point in terms of learning bodily injury. And so we're getting a role where you're doing bodily injury claims or even low severity bodily injury claims is probably going to be your best entry point. I think one of the ways that you can get this experience is working at a TPA. And if you don't know what a TPA is a company that handles claims for money. That's how they make money. So you have insurance companies like State Farm out there, and State Farm is an insurance company. They sell policies. They have claims adjusters that handle the claims at the back end. But there's also companies called TPAs. A large one, Sedgwick is a big name. Gallagher Bassett They're a huge TPA. And what they do is companies hire them to handle their claims. So one of the cool things about working at a TPA is that you get different lines of exposure. So a lot of times sometimes you are just working one account. Let's say they've got a massive account. They handle all of Starbucks claims, something like that. You're a dedicated account adjuster, but a lot of times working for a TPA, they have a bunch of smaller accounts and you get exposure at different lines. And so working at a TPA is a really good way to gain exposure to new lines of insurance, and just being that person who's really good at their job, and then when something else opens up, being your hand raised and you're like, yeah, I'd love to help out with that, or I'd love to learn that new thing. So that's one of the ways that I recommend trying to kind of move up in your career, is to get exposure at a TPA. To get bodily injury or like litigation exposure at another company, depending on where you work. Like if you work at Allstate and you're an adjuster, a lot of times you're going to be in a very specific role handling one type of claims, and you're kind of a claims machine for that. And sometimes it's hard in some of those bigger companies to kind of move around or gain different exposure without a job opening, you applying for, your manager recommending, and you can push that job. That can happen, and that's a way that you can progress too. But targeting that specific job at a different company, maybe making a lateral move into like that specific role type that you're looking for, or again, like a TPA. I think I love working with TPAs. I think it's really good opportunity for adjusters. I also think sometimes the financial motivation to work at TPAs can be there, and yeah, like especially like a lot of times at a TPA, they're going to start you out at kind of a lower severity, like the position that I'm hiring for. They're going to start you out at a very specific thing, but if you progress, they have a need. They're triaging their claims too. They're sending lower severity claims over here. They're giving someone else with a different desk higher severity claims. And so doing really well at a TPA a lot of times is a good way to kind of grow, and you'll be able to move up a lot quicker than like a traditional carrier route or a mutual company. So those are a couple of things that I would recommend. Again, this is the Claims Recruiter office hours weekly live stream. I go live every Tuesday. We hang out for an hour, drink coffee out of a cow mug, listen to my dog snore. We're live on TikTok today, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, my website, claimsrecruiter.com, Crew Talent Group, the greatest claims recruiting company on planet Earth. If you're out there, say hello. I'd love to hear from you. We got 13 likes on TikTok. Shannon says thank you. Thank you for joining. Thanks for tuning in. That's why I do it. It's a beautiful Tuesday here in Portland, Oregon. Awesome. Let's keep rocking. If you're tuned in again, this is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours weekly live stream. What is the hardest part about being a claims adjuster? That question came into my chat this week. Hand up. I've never been a claims adjuster. Never once handled a claim. I had my Texas license, which really doesn't make sense now since I moved to Oregon. So I do have my Texas designated home state license just because I wanted to see what it was like to go get that. But I've never actually handled claims. I can tell you what people have told me, what I've heard from people. But I'd love to hear from some actual claims adjusters who are out there working in the field, working on the desk, working whatever types of claims. What's the hardest part about being a claims adjuster for you? I mean, there's so many things that are difficult about this job. I think if you're a field property adjuster, I think there's the physical aspects of claims adjusting it can be difficult. Climbing roofs, traveling, dealing with all the unknowns of working in disaster zones, I think is a very difficult part of being an adjuster. Also, climbing ladders, getting on roofs, it's a difficult part of being an adjuster. Negotiation for a lot of people is a difficult part of being a claims adjuster. For example, property adjusters spend a lot of time negotiating with roofing contractors, remodeling contractors, restoration contractors. It's a difficult part about being an adjuster. I think another difficult part about being an adjuster is handling all of these things. A lot of moving parts while you have a huge pending load of claims, right? And so you've got 100 claims on your desk, and I showed some pictures earlier, damage in Texas. You know, every single person that you have their claim, they're not thinking about the 99 other claims that you have on their desk. They're thinking about their one claim. And so it's really important to have empathy, to work with people. Shannon says, as a desk adjuster, I think time management and staying organized, thank goodness I've improved greatly. Yeah, I think time management is huge. I think adjusters handle way more claims nowadays than they used to. And I think the tools have gotten better, right? Back in the day, you're out there, back in the good old days when the fee schedules were higher, you know, you're out there with your tape measure, measuring the outside of a house so you can hand draw that and Xactimate. Now you got Eagle View, you pay $30 and boom, it's all in there. So the tools have greatly improved, but what that means for adjusters is the number of claims that they're handling is a lot higher. And so you have to stay extremely organized. Documentation is such an important piece of being a claims adjuster. They'll tell you, if it's not in the file, it didn't happen. And so getting phone calls, being pulled in a bunch of different directions, changing guidelines, changing laws, rules, regulations, keeping up with building codes, keeping up with, you know, and it just depends on the type of claims that you're handling. But yeah. If you're a workers' comp adjuster, I would say empathy is probably a very difficult part of the job. You know, having to work with people who have been injured on the job, have been lives changed. You know, so there's a lot of really hard things about this job. It's not for everyone. Not everyone can be a claims adjuster. Not everyone should be a claims adjuster. It's a really, really awesome, really, really rewarding career. It can be very financially motivating as well for the right people. But yeah, it's not for everybody. But is it an awesome, awesome career? Has it changed my life? Absolutely. And that's why we're doing it. That's why we're here. Insurance rocks, as they say. Let's keep rocking. Let's keep rocking. Okay, what else we got here today? Again, this is a Claims Recruiter office hours. I go live every Tuesday, talk about claims, talk about recruiting, talk about jobs and insurance. I've got questions that people have asked me throughout the week that I kind of go over and talk about things that I'm hearing. If you've got questions, I'd love for you to say hello, tune in. Yeah, let's rock. I had an interview, but I haven't heard back. It's been 3 weeks. What do I do? I would say this is not typical, right? If you've had an interview with a human being and you have not heard back in 3 weeks, I would say you need to reach back out to that human being and just ask for a status update. It doesn't have to be weird, doesn't have to be a lot, but I don't think it's inappropriate at all. If you haven't heard back in 3 weeks, I mean, there should be some sort of update, or at least like a timeline update. So if you're a recruiter out there, update your candidates weekly. Every Friday, if you haven't talked to a candidate and they're out there just sitting, you're not doing your job. So, yeah, if you had an interview with a human, you should have some sort of contact information just to reach out and say, hey, just pop them back in. Wanted to get an update, just see where we're at. Still super interested in the job. Thanks again for taking the time to chat. Would love to hear an update. That's what I would do. Yeah. I would say 3 weeks is a long time to not hear back. And I think one thing that's important as recruiters is we're part marketing for the companies that we work for. And one of the things that's important is the candidate experience. We want to make sure that people who apply, that interview, that are going to potentially work with your company or not, have a good experience, whether they get the job or not. And if someone goes and has a really poor experience interviewing for their company, they're going to tell their friends about that poor experience. They're going to see it in the Facebook forums. You're going to see it on the LinkedIn forums. You're going to see it online. You're going to see it on Reddit. And so it's really important to give people a good experience. And the truth of it is that more as a recruiter, if I have an open job, more I don't know how to say this. One person's getting that job, and I'm probably interviewing 3 to 5 to maybe even more people for that job. So more people that I'm working with are actually not getting the job than are getting the job, which sucks, right? I wish as a recruiter that everybody got the job. I always root for the candidates. You know, you want to see people get jobs. You want to see people have a good time, but that's just the truth of it, is that not everyone gets the job. But it's really important to make that experience a positive thing, even if they don't get the job, so that they don't hate your company, they don't talk bad about your company, and maybe it's not, no, it's a not right now. And so yeah, if you're a recruiter out there, it's super important to maintain a good candidate experience to people that are applying and interviewing and talking to your company, because they might be future customers, they might be present customers of your company. And so you want to not just in the insurance industry, but every industry out there. And that's one of the things that I see with Indeed.com and with some of these AI platforms and things like that, is like, sure, does it make my job easier? Does it make me more efficient? But if it does that at the cost of a bad candidate experience, is it worth it? Right? And that's why I see like some of these AI interview tools, or like, you know, some of these ATSs and things like that are just like denying people, or like even Indeed.com. Like, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you know, I don't like to use the word hate, but I strongly dislike Indeed.com. And one of the reasons is it's a bad experience for every single party. The recruiter's not having a good time. The people applying aren't having a good time. It's not leaving them with a good taste in their like of your company. So yeah, and that's one of the benefits of using a recruiter. Someone like me is like, I really care about my brand image. I really care about your brand image, and I want everyone, even if they get the job, if I don't have a job for them, I want everyone to leave thinking positive things about everybody. And so I think it's important, and I think that AI is slowly chipping away at that experience, at the cut costs. But there's value in it. There's value in having that good experience. There's value in having human beings within that process. So keep rocking. What else we got? Should I get my license or apply to jobs first? I get this question all the time. I've talked about it before. I'm going to talk about it again. If you are looking to get a job in claims or in the insurance industry, should you apply to jobs or get your license first? The answer is you should do both. If you want to be a claims adjuster, chances are, if you look at the job descriptions, they are going to require that you get your job in the first 30 days or 90 days. Most places are going to require that. Certain situations where you may not need a license, those opportunities do exist. However, most jobs out there are going to require you to have licenses. There are 37 states that require a state-specific license in order to handle claims in that state. Again, there's certain companies where if you work for a carrier, maybe you don't need a license, but most of them are going to require it. If you work for a TPA, you're certainly going to need a license. So I highly recommend that you start getting your designated home state license or your home state license. If you live in one of those 13 states that doesn't require a license, you can get what's called a designated home state license. So you can get a Texas, a Florida, or like an Indiana license, and then use that to get other licenses if needed. But the first one is the hardest, right? You have to go take a test. A lot of times you're gonna have to get fingerprints, you're gonna do a background check, you're gonna have to go through kind of these hoops, you're gonna have to take a 40-hour class in order to get your insurance license, your claims adjusting license. And then once you have that one, let's say you wanna go get, you know, Michigan just had a ton of weather, you wanna go get Michigan, all you gotta do is pay $20 and get that license. You have your designated home states, they're gonna acknowledge reciprocity with your designated home state or your home state license, and all you got to do is pay money and get in their database, basically. Certain states are much harder. California and New York, for instance, very difficult to get claims adjuster licenses. But yeah, short answer to this question, should I get my license or apply to jobs first? You should do both. You see a job that doesn't necessarily require a license or requires it in the first 30 days, you go ahead and apply to that job, but you certainly should start working on your license. It doesn't cost, I mean, it costs a little bit of money to get your license, but it's kind of like it's like a driver's license. Like, you need a driver's license to drive your car. And so if you're going to apply to be a semi-driver, you're going to need a semi-light. You're going to need your Class A CDL at some point. Does your Class A CDL mean that you're a good semi-driver? Certainly not. It just means that you have done the basic requirements to do the job. And that's the same thing with claims adjusting. You're going to have to get that license. It's going to cost you a little bit of money. One of the places you can go is Adjuster Pro is a good licensing place. You can do it online, 40-hour class. I prefer to do it in person. So if you can find somewhere, took 3 attempts. Shannon just passed her New York. Shout out to you. That is a tough license to get. Yeah, it took 3 attempts. It's not surprising. It's a really hard license to get. But yeah, New York's really difficult to get. California, very difficult to get. But yeah, if you're out there looking for your first job in claims, highly recommend starting your licensing process. I like doing it in person. When I did my license, I went down to Eberl Claim Service has a training program called CATI. Shout out CATI, C-A-T-I. I took an in-person class with Michelle Chris. Michelle Chris is also on LinkedIn. You can find her. She does licensing classes, so check out her programs as well. I think she does in-person and virtual ones, but it's really boring. It's super, super boring. It's not teaching you how to be an adjuster. It's teaching you the very basics of kind of what you need to know. And so I recommend doing it in person if you can, because it'll just make it a lot easier. It was nuts. Yeah, honestly, shout out. That is a super hard license to get. So congrats on getting that. That's a big deal. And that can help you get jobs too. So yeah. We got about 15 minutes left. I always kind of know when the hour's getting close because my coffee starting to wind down and I have to go downstairs and get more coffee. But yeah, this is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours live stream. We go live every single Tuesday and we talk all things claims adjusting, jobs, careers, insights, resume, interviews, whatever we want to talk about. We're here hanging out for 1 hour. Every single Tuesday. We've been doing it for 18 weeks now. Haven't missed a week yet. Started at the beginning of the year, so we're 18 weeks into 2026. Yeah. We're live on TikTok. We're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Cool. Let's see what else we got here. Is it worth it to make a move for a $10,000 increase? Well, you hear other people's opinions too. I don't know. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to make a move for 10K? I did the math here. You're looking at about... Well, let's do the math again. Let's just make sure I'm talking right. So 10,000 divided by... the weeks in the year, 52. It's $192 a week. So basically you're making an extra $200 a week, $10,000 after taxes. You're talking about probably like $140 a week. So yeah, I mean, is that worth it? Potentially. I think that you have to weigh things other than money. And obviously compensation is the biggest driver for a lot of people, but how does that job fit in with what you're looking for long term? Are those skills is it a step up in pay and responsibilities? Are you learning new things? Is it going to challenge you in a different way? Are you going to develop new skills? Those are the types of things that I would look at. Is this going to position you to be where you want to be in 5 to 10 years? And so look at it a couple of ways. I'm going to turn off my little heater. Look at it a couple different ways. Yeah, it's about $192 a week more. That's like groceries for me. So yeah, like that's significant. But in the grand scheme of things, is that 10,000, like the big picture, is that new job, are those new responsibilities, new skills that are going to learn to get you where you want to be in 3 years or 5 years? And so that's what I would say for a question like this. It could be, it certainly could be, but take the money out of it and then look at it that way. Like, is it help you accomplish your goals? What are your long-term goals? What are your short-term goals? It certainly can be worth it to make a move for $10,000. I think there's a lot of reasons to make moves, and I think one of the reasons that people leave their jobs and work somewhere else is financial. I think it's like, you work for a company, if you're in the same role, you know, right now you're getting a 3% raise every year. It's really hard to get that. That's certainly not going to be 10 grand. So one of the ways that you can go out and make more money is to go out and work for a different company, or talk to a recruiter and kind of see where that your salary's at. So yeah, it's something that it's just going to depend on kind of everybody, what your personal goals are, but think about it more than just the dollars. And I think that's where the answer lies. Awesome. Cool. Well, this is, I know I keep saying it over and over if you're here a long time, but a lot of people joining and leaving here on TikTok, especially. This is the Claims Recruiter Office Hours weekly live stream. I hang out for an hour on Tuesdays and we talk all things careers and claims. Love to hear from you. Here's a question that I get or see even quite often. I've been at my job less than a year, but I hate it. Is it too early to look for something else? So I can give my viewpoint as a recruiter and what I see and what I'm hearing from hiring managers or claims leaders, what they're looking for in people. And one of the things that I hear over and over and over and over and over and over is that we're looking for people with longevity. It's not only just expensive to train and to onboard people, but it takes something almost like emotionally out of a team to do so. And so if you go to a job and you work there for 3 months or 6 months or even 9 months, and then you leave and go work somewhere else, it really hurts the team that you're working on, because it takes sometimes a year to really get comfortable in a job. And so you're just getting there, you leave, they got to start over and start from scratch again. They don't want to do that. And one of the things I say when I interview or I'm talking or I'm consulting with clients is the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. So if you have a bunch of jobs that you've worked for 9 months, 6 months and leave, what is the likelihood of you going to a new job, working for it there 6 to 9 months and leaving again? And so certainly one of the things that I'm seeing from employers is that they don't like hiring people that have hopped on a lot of jobs. Now, is that to say that they won't hire people that have done this? Absolutely not. And there's certain situations and circumstances where it does make sense that you can do that. And it like, you know, like I was just talking to someone who got a new job working for a company, and then the line of business that they were working on, the company lost the contract, and so they only worked that job for 6 months and they lost their job. Is that because they're a bad adjuster? Absolutely not. It has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with the company who was handling the account. And honestly, it wasn't even the company. The company that left made a business decision that had nothing to do with that company. It wasn't their fault at all. So it was like really no one's fault. But yeah, they had a job that they had for 6 months and they left. And so there's certainly circumstances where things like this happen. If you're working a job and you just can't deal with it, you know, or like there's just certain situations where it's just intolerable for you, you have to make that decision on your own. But what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, it may impact your ability to get future jobs. And so if this is you, I would really take a hard look in the mirror at like, what about that job is so bad that you can't be there? And you got to take a little bit of ownership in terms of like, making the move to do that job, maybe that wasn't the best decision. And I've done this myself, and so I can relate to this, where I took a job once that I found out rather quickly that it wasn't going to be a fit for me, and I left it pretty much immediately. I was there for like a month and a half, and I learned from it. And the biggest takeaway for me is that I should have done a better job really like sussing out that company, and I should have known before taking the job that it wasn't going to be a fit. It really, like, at the end of the day, it probably didn't have anything to do with the company. It was mainly me, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about what I need. But I would say, if it is you, and this is you, you've been at your job for less than a year and you have to get out, you really need to take a hard look at the next job that you get and make sure that it really is a good fit. And so I would say grind it out as long as you possibly can, or really, really take a hard look and make sure whatever jobs you're targeting, or whatever jobs you might accept right now in this situation, that you're going to be able to stay at that company for a minute, or you're going to have a good time there. Because if you rack up 2 or 3 of these in a row, it will impact your ability to get jobs in a negative way. Again, there are certain circumstances where this happens, especially in claims. You know, maybe you took a contract assignment, maybe the company lost the deal, maybe you got laid off. All those things happen and are understandable. And then it's kind of about communicating that, whether it be on your resume or within an interview. But yeah, you really don't want to do this. You don't want to work jobs for a quick time and then leave over and over. It's not gonna go great for you. So that's the answer to that one. Awesome stuff. Well, this is the Claims Recruiter Office Hour live stream. We go live every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. It's 9 a.m. on the Best Coast. What time is it? 9:54. You can't see it. On the Best Coast. I got my Garmin smartwatch here. 850 steps so far. Gotta get to 10,000. But yeah, we talk about all things claims, recruiting, jobs, and insurance. It's my goal to help 100 people get jobs in the insurance industry in the year 2026. And that's what it's all about. So you got questions, you want to hang out, drop a hello in the chat. See what else we got here. How can I tell if a company has good culture or not? Awesome question. And I see this like a lot of times in some of the forums that I'm in, whether it be on Reddit or Facebook, where people are like, does this company stink or not? And there's like 100 comments and they're like, oh, this company stinks. So first off, I want to just like talk about the industry as a whole, in the insurance industry, and some of the things that I hear from people who are working the jobs is, a lot of times I'll hear things like, I have a toxic manager and I'm constantly micromanaged. And I don't want to totally discard those statements, because it happens sometimes. There are bad managers out there. There are toxic jobs out there. There is micromanagement out there. But there's also the nature of the business. And the nature of the insurance business is that it is highly regulated. There's a lot of laws that regulate this industry. And because of that, a lot of companies will put in metrics that seem micromanagey, but sometimes it's more about like the law. You know, like if you get a claim and you're a claims adjuster, you must contact that person within 24 hours. And you better believe that every single insurance claims company on the planet is going to measure that, because they want to be within the law. And so if that feels micromanagey to you, it may not be an industry that you want to be in. They're going to manage your metrics, and it's your job to stay within those metrics. And it's going to feel micromanagey at times, but it's just kind of the way the world works. And even in recruiting, we do the same thing, right? We have I measure myself. I mean, I just have my own KPIs, but you know, most places you go are going to measure all kinds of different things on how you operate, how many people you get in a role, time from when you get the role to you have submittals, time from interview to offer, time from opening to closing the rec, things like that. And so a lot of things I hear online are like, oh, this company's super micromanagey. Well, yeah, I mean, State Farm gets sued more than any other company out there, and so they have a really stringent claims process. My TikTok is, I think it's just Crew Talent Group. I'm under there as Josh Claims Recruiter, but I think it's at Crew Talent Group is my handle, and I try and post on TikTok. I'm not super great about posting on TikTok, but I try. I'm new to TikTok, but no, yeah, that's so. That's one of the things that I hear about in terms of like all the time, like, oh, this company's super toxic. They stink. I hate working at State Farm. Dude, State Farm is an awesome company. They employ like thousands and thousands of claims adjusters. It's not a terrible place to work. It's just not right for everybody. And so be wary of some of the things you hear from anonymous people online. That's number one. But to answer this question, how do you tell if a company has good culture or not? I would say the best way that you can tell is by talking to people that work at that company. And so get in conversations with people that work at different companies, see what they like about it, see what they dislike about it. Take it with a grain of salt sometimes if someone says this company sucks. Because sometimes you don't know if that anonymous person is a good adjuster or not. Sometimes you don't even know if they actually work for the company or whatever, if they're just trolling online. So talk to people who you know work at the company and see what it's like. I would also look at some of the company's values, see what they talk about online, see what their website says, see if they talk about some of these things. You know, if you go to a company who really cares about their culture, they're going to talk about it a lot. They're going to encourage their people to talk about it. They're going to like what they do. They're going to be happy to talk to people that reach out and ask about it. So that's one of the best ways you can do is like talk to the people who work there and get their honest opinion. Second place you can go, Glassdoor is a good place to go. Again, like Glassdoor kind of skews negative. It's kind of like Google reviews. If you get a haircut and it's great, you know, most people don't go online and immediately review. But if you get a haircut and it's terrible, what are you going to do? You're going to go online and you're going to review it. So same thing with Glassdoor. A lot of times it kind of skews towards the negative. But you can get some good information from it. And then there's gonna be a third thing, but I can't remember now. But yeah, I would talk to people who work for the company, check out Glassdoor, and then yeah, do some research just about the company, what their values are, who owns the company. One of the things that we see in insurance right now is private equity is coming in and buying up companies, and then those companies then go up and buy more companies up, and it's kind of this cycle of like acquisitions. I think we're seeing it in a lot of industries, not just insurance, but that can create some volatile workplaces at times. It can also create a lot of opportunity, and so it can be a good thing, but sometimes like the private equity comes in and is trying to flip a company in 2-3 years, you know, it can be difficult. And so that's another thing. Again, there's like some really awesome private equity companies out there that own claims companies or TPAs or whatever it might be. You know, I don't want to crap on the PE companies because there's some really good ones. But what I will say is that, you know, the companies that get bought up over and over, bought and sold, or are buying up lots of companies, it can be difficult. Something is going on. Inactivity in my TikTok. I mean, I booted. I mean, I'm going to end in a couple minutes anyways. So, let's see. I got one more prepared question, and then we're gonna rock. Again, this has been the Claims Recruiter office hours. I go live every single Tuesday. Talk all things insurance, claims, careers, whatever you want to talk about. Love for you to say hello if you're out there listening, tuning in. Awesome. Let's see. Should I pay someone to do my resume for me? You can. It's expensive. I don't know. You can also hit me up and I'll give you a free resume template. Josh at crewtalentgroup.com. I will give you my free resume template. I've got a YouTube video on my YouTube channel that walks through what I look for in resumes, how I would do a resume if I was creating a resume today. There's a lot of bad information out on the line about resume creation. There are good resume creators out there. You can pay. It's not cheap. A lot of times it's like $250 to $500 for someone to do your resume. You know, if you really don't want to do a resume, sure, you can pay the money and I'm sure they'll give you a really good one. I'm a firm believer that like you know yourself more than anybody else, and so you're going to do a better job than maybe someone online. Most people aren't experts at writing resumes because they don't have to do it very often. And so Would I pay $500 for someone to do my resume? Certainly not. I do have a free resume template that I am totally happy to provide you with if you are looking for some help with your resume. Got a YouTube video again that kind of walks through what I would look at. I would say the biggest thing with resumes, you don't need to over-engineer it. You don't need these fancy templates. You don't need crazy graphics. You don't need your picture on it. You just need a solid, readable format, scannable, short and sweet, to the point. Your point of a resume is to get you interviews. No one's hiring you because of your resume. They're hiring you because of your experience, your skills, what you bring to the table. Your resume is just kind of your one-page billboard ad. And so, do you need to pay someone $500 to do your resume? You know, some people do. Other people can figure it out on their own, and with a little help, a little guidance, you can have the same quality resume as someone that they're going to build you online for $500. So, yeah, I would say if you're asking this question, reach out to me. I will send you a free resume template with some examples of how I structure things, some example bullet points, kind of a framework of how to build it. And you can even just use the template I have, so you don't have to design it at all. Yeah. So awesome. Thanks for joining, Shin. I'm hopping off too. So if you made it a whole hour, that's incredible. Most people don't last a whole hour. So thanks so much for tuning in. TikTok, thanks so much for you tuning in as well. We'll be here. I guess we'll start doing this on TikTok too. So yeah, we go live every single Tuesday. I'll be live again next week, and then the week after that I will actually not be live for the first time in 19 weeks. So I'm going to take 1 week off, and then we'll be back the next Tuesday. So we typically do this every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. That's 9 a.m. on the Best Coast, out here in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, we go live on and we talk claims recruiting. This stream is brought to you by the greatest claims recruiting company on planet Earth. That's Crew Talent Group. You can head over to our website at crewtalentgroup.com. You can check out what openings I'm working on. You can also just kind of apply to be on the passive roster if you're looking for claims opportunities. I want to be on my mailing list, be the first to know about cool opportunities that I'm working with. Head over to crewtalentgroup.com, send me your resume. Like I was saying earlier, if you want a free resume template, reach out to me, send me a DM. I'm happy to chat. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining, and we will see you next Tuesday.